units are terrific. I think they're going to provide the people who live here with the dignity of having four walls and a life to hopefully help them with the services that they're going to be provided right here on site. So I'm very excited about that. I'm David Frocht. I serve as a state senator from the Seattle area, and I serve as the vice chair of our Senate Ways and Means Committee, responsible for our capital construction budget, and was proud to lead the appropriation that puts some money into this particular project.
I was really surprised with what Blokable came in with. They had the design in mind, they had the idea in mind, and they took this project, and we did not have to do a whole lot. It was fairly simple, very straightforward. Blokable managed the whole project on its own and completed this project with Valley City's involvement was to a minimum.
So the buildings we're standing in front of today were built in our factory in Vancouver, Washington, brought here on trucks and placed into this exact location you're seeing. What's great about Modular and what we do with Modular at Blokable is that these are actually permanent buildings, very long-lasting life, all steel construction. We use a pretty typical mini-split system, but because these buildings are incredibly tight, meaning they don't leak very much air, we don't have to overutilize this system, but it also requires that we have an energy recovery ventilation system. You don't hear it in the background, it's in our mechanical space, but what it does is it brings in fresh air from the outside, filters it, then pushes it inside the building, and at the same time exhausts the older air outside, keeping this a continually fresh environment, which helps us mitigate any bacteria, molds, and other unhealthy air particles that might be in the air in a typical building. And so because we make really tight buildings at Blokable, a key feature, and we think an important part of what comfort is all about, is the ability to make the space quiet. And it's really quiet.
How quiet it is, how calming and how safe it feels in the room. That's what is amazing. And like I said, I would live in this house. The way it's designed, the way it's put together.
So what Blokable can achieve in housing and reducing the cost of housing in a real way instead of a subsidized way is really about the kinds of efficiencies that came out of the automobile industry 100 years ago, where costs were reduced both for materials, for labor, the amount of time that it takes to construct a vehicle. All of those kinds of efficiencies we believe we can bring to housing. And so for communities, this is about very high quality housing, and housing that not only is cost effective to purchase, but cost effective to own and to operate.
And what we've done is taken everything in-house and said we will control the entire process. We will self-perform on everything. And that means we control the risk, we control the timing, we minimize all the outside variables and maximize the outcome on the project. With vertically integrated modular, we can speed up the pre-design and pre-development process. We can lower the cost of that, minimize our risk, and then control the entire build process from day one. And every time we make an improvement, we take that lesson and move it to the next building, which means the next building costs less to build, becomes more efficient. And as you build that chain of efficiencies over time, your equity increases.
There are a few things about the project that are really worth noting, things that we've achieved largely because of the investment that we've made in R&D and engineering. This is an all-electric project, which is a standard that we're moving to in the West Coast. A lot of cities have already banned gas in new residential and commercial construction. We're already there. We've built an all-electric project. It's zero energy. I mean, it's incredible in terms of its energy performance, which is a big deal when you think about the amount of housing that needs to be built. But we've also done it using a vertically integrated model that works both in not-for-profit and market rate development. So an incentive structure where, as we drive down the cost of housing development, We create equity on the market rate side that we can return to our investors. And then we also create a lower cost structure that removes and reduces the need for subsidy on the affordable housing side. So this project is really bringing together the vertical integration of the development model and bringing modular into the correct business model, the expression of very high performance building product that we've created that we think represents the future of quality for housing, and then also a public-private model that allows us to do that both on market rate and affordable housing.
I think the one thing we've got to work on and we need to continue to work on is to try to move the wheels of government and the private sector and the partnership and make it work more rapidly, because the problem is so massive, we can't wait, we've got to move quicker. But I feel very good about what I'm seeing so far to date.
I'm YB Choi. I help lead early stage venture capital investing at Vulcan, which is the organization that was started by Paul Allen back in the late 80s. Yeah, so we see a really bright future and potential for Blokable, particularly with the vertical integration. I mean, that's kind of the things we've seen here is how much was needed in terms of innovation within the process as a whole, not just the hardware. And so being able to overcome all the obstacles that are inherent in the system and in the industry makes it for a really large opportunity that Blokable can go after.